Ladies, gentlemen, everyone in that wonderful Technicolor rainbow in between, it's summer, it's Pride, but most importantly of all, it's the start of the Titan Esports Vanquisher League. I'm What's Your Pretty, back here for the Vanquisher broadcast, and joining me, a long time now partner of mine here at Titan, it's Golden Gad. How you feeling today, Golden?
I'm feeling good, ready for another split of Vanquisher. Obviously, just came off of the back of the last one, so happy to see another one come through here. And of course, as you said, long time. You know, we've been casting a long time at this point. I was trying to go back in my mind. I think this might be my 7th split of Titan Esports, so
Sixth or
definitely have
seventh
been
one
going
of
through it.
those.
I mean, we got to hit it for the chat engagement. You know, I totally get it here.
Whatever the kids are saying, yeah.
Yeah. Hey, the Pope did it, so honestly, any goes, to be honest. So that definitely is fair play. Besides that, we do have, of course, this is the first match of Vanquisher here. We have, once again, most likely 7, matches to go through at this point. We'll see how that actually goes as far as the weeks are breakdown. But I will say, a lot of the players who had done very well in the last split have moved on to upper leagues, or maybe just have quit playing altogether. So honestly, it's a pretty big gap and a race to the top for a lot of different teams now that kind of the big dogs are kind of out of the smaller pool here in Vanquisher.
Yeah, based off of what I've heard and what I've read from the great content creator for this split, Dwam, uh, it seems like it's a little bit of an open court
Winner,
here for
by
the
the way.
middle of the pack at the very least. And just getting a sense of who's going to be the strongest, what teams are going to really come out on top. A lot of people don't really know exactly what the league is going to look like yet. A lot of people are saying it's kind of wide open. I don't really know a bunch of these players. This is going to be really different. We'll have to see how it ends up, but I'm excited for this first week's match because we have an organization that we know really well in Dorado Gaming, Kappa, who generally, when you see a Dorado team, they're fielding a strong team. They're fielding players who are some of the best in the league, but we have a couple of unknowns here. We have some players that we don't really know 100% about, which is really interesting. And I'm excited to see how they actually do on the Rift against their opponents in Akuma, Adolla, Burst. Really cool name, by the way. Love that.
Yeah.
But let's not yap on too much longer. We're getting into the draft. It's game number 1. It's split for the summer. It's the first week. I'm so excited to be back.
Yeah, and we're getting draft here. Of course, this is going to be fearless, so everything to expect here for the next couple games, but we're going to get some pretty standard bans. Well, I say standard and I see it casted in, which definitely is targeted 100%. Just generally, I think how it goes in these kind of leagues, you want to really take away the strongest options for a lot of players, so it makes a lot of sense to actually go for it there. And then we do see Gwen and Wukong. Gwen's just a nice top lane pick. Hasn't really seen a nerf in a bit, and typically this champ's pretty good as long as she doesn't get gutted a little bit, so makes sense there. And then Caitlyn as kind of one of those stronger AD carries. I know I kind of hate Caitlyn right now, but you know, people like playing it, so it makes sense. You get rid of the prio. We talked a little bit on the break about enchanters getting nerfed, which does kind of help Caitlyn's case, to be honest, because a big reason that she could be weaker is when enchanters are able to kind of trade out the poke very effectively in the early game.
Yeah, but she does also pair well with a lot of the enchanters. She can do decently well with some of the all-in champions, but definitely, I think, less of that same pairing style that we see with something like Caitlyn Lux, Caitlyn Morgana, these long-range poke champions, enchanters, those sorts of things. First pick for Akuma here is going to be that Victor. Not something that we're normally seeing as the first pick, at the very least as far as I'm aware. He's generally strong when he's just able to kind of stat check everybody and say, hey, other champions have been nerfed, the pool around me is a lot weaker, I can just sort of farm safely and free fire. But on the other side for Dorado, instantly slamming down Orianna Jarvan, getting a great little wombo combo there just to start the draft. Good mid-jungle duo.
Yeah, starting with the sombrero never hurts here, but I think they have to expect that when you lock in Victor. It has to be a mage that can outrange Victor. Orianna just barely outranges in some scenarios, so is actually a nice kill threat there, and Xin Zhao's the obvious lock-in after a Jarvan. Gives you that dueling pressure that you would want into it, and then we are going to see Sion on the top side as well, just to lock down a nice tank option. I feel like Sion right now is so turbo broken.
Yeah.
I know we say this like for the last couple years, but like because of some of the nerfs to fighters, and then also just the fact that tanks as a whole kind of got buffed, especially with that Doran's Helm start. You know, you're going to have to figure out a way through the wall.
It's worth mentioning these two new starter items that we haven't had a chance to see yet here at Titan. The Doran's Bow and the Doran's Helm have been incredibly good additions to the starters, to the starter item set in the early game. Doran's Helm, I think I read somewhere, is the most gold efficient tank item that you can buy. I've seen support starting to build it just after they finish their quest. It's just really good.
Yeah, and I think a big thing that kind of compounds it is like, think about a lot of these tanks do scale off of those resistances. Like I remember when Doran's Helm came out, my first idea was, let me just play Cassante, and it just works. So I expect to see that pick get locked in later on in this one, but we are going to see Varus, which, I mean, would be going towards that bot side, so going for a little bit more prio gives Akuma a little bit less options as far as flexibility in bot side, but they will just, it looks like Lucian Braum is most likely just going to be the answer here.
Lucian Braum can't
just
be
to
locked
guarantee.
in, though. It's the ban wave from
Braum's banned.
Braum from Dorado. Are they going to opt for the Lucian Nami after she's been so heavily targeted and nerfed? No, they're going to opt for the Melio instead. I think that's the better choice. Nami, poor Nami. For as much as she's been really strong and a really good option, it's so tough to see a champion not only get nerfed, but also lose their, like, #1 item in the same patch. That's just rough.
Yeah, and we will see Nico here. That's a classic lane pairing. You got Nico Varus. You get CC'd once after level 6, you most likely just die. But that's what the Melio's for, so hopefully they'll be able to navigate that matchup quite well here. As far as matchups, I mean, I actually think this is just going to come down to straight up play. You don't have too much engage on the Akuma side, but you do have a dueling advantage, I think, for the most part. With the Scion Xin Zhao kind of core as like a nice front line that can really deal with stuff like the Jarvan dive. So, I don't know. I expect Dorado to come out to an early lead just with the Varus, Nico, and the Jarvan. And then we'll have to see from there whether Victor can kind of come into his own or not, because that is always a big question when it's the Victor Ori matchup.
I think especially with the changes to Static Shiv, which has been a sizable buff for a lot of champions in the game, ones that really rely on hit champions like the Varus and like the Xin Zhao. Early on, I remember seeing in the patch, AP Xin Zhao heals for 2,000 by autoing away, some crazy numbers like that. I doubt we're going to see anything like that this game, but I know Varus has been opting into the Static Shiv build a lot. It's been incredibly good on him, so I expect to see that kind of bolster their wave clear, even if it's not like... It's not the Static Shiv of old where you would auto a wave like twice and you would one-shot the wave, but it's still really, really good.
Yeah, definitely that is true. So I guess, you know, we have our final, like, I don't have too much more to say. I just want to see how we get into the game here. So obviously Zehen, always a controversial champ because doesn't as interesting, but we'll have to see how it actually plays out into the Scion as we get into game 1 here on Vanquisher summer season here. So
oh, and the first blood has already been drawn, the ward taken down, traded for the sweeper.
Okay.
Zoranos and Spatel just trying to get lane prio, but getting that prio versus Resign and Amp on this Varus Nico duo. You mentioned already Varus Nico being an incredibly strong 2v2 pairing. I think life's going to be kind of difficult for them.
Yeah, I mean, they do have an extra ward here, which actually does kind of come into play, so curious to see how Amp will end up using that. Whether to cover anything or just, I think just to get the lane, the bush control for the most part.
I'm a little surprised to see the first. I'm a little surprised to see that first support proc from Amp go for poke instead of for the wave control. It has been kind of the consensus to just say, hey, early autos, getting that extra 20 gold from like the auto doesn't matter as much as having wave control and having lane state control. As Kate is going to get a nice sidestep there, and we'll get a decent trade, taking advantage of something else we didn't get to see last patch, the return, or last split, the return of Deathfire Touch on this Victor.
Yeah, the 2 runes coming back, so we got Spell Thieves, which is just replacing Phase Rush because it was too broken. And then Deathfire Touch, of course, which is amazing on Victor. Honestly, both of those runes work on that champion. It just kind of depends on the actual, you know, what they're actually facing into. So pretty nice visible buffs here for Victor coming into that mid-season. And, you know, we'll have to see if it pays off. I mean, the damage output for the champion has definitely increased a fair amount in the early game compared to before.
Yeah, life has been a lot better for these sustained damage mages. They don't need to opt in for the area anymore. You saw people like Malzahar, like Victor, taking that even as an option that wasn't exactly preferable for them just because Comet was not exactly what they wanted. They didn't have the ability to lock down somebody and guarantee those hits. And speaking of that, I am actually a little surprised to see Cleos go for the Aerie. I've seen Comet a lot more on Orianna, at the very least in the past, as well as Deathfire Touch can work on her, or even something like Electrocute if you're trying to be a little bit more aggressive, but I like the Comet. I even like Storm Raiders sometimes. I think with the nerfs to Aerie, we're probably going to see that start to get phased out of mid lane ever so slightly.
Yeah, it looks like Aerie just kind of is standard, but also the win rate of Orianna is just kind of abysmally low, so I think it's just kind of a cope pick. So, hey, I have a little bit extra utility on the top there just to make this champ still very much so relevant, because I think this is more of a glue pick for the composition and, you know, a little bit of a counter pick, but as far as direct effectiveness of the champion, it's going to be a little bit lower than splits past, as we do see Jarvan actually coming out to a very early full clear. I guess Xin Zhao spent a little bit of time covering on the top side, so we'll be off the map a little bit later, so J4 going to come out. We'll see how he actually pulls it off. I mean, if you could get a good gank on this Silent early, get the Zehen ball rolling, maybe you have a chance to just kind of force repeat on the top side, but Sound never really cares too much about that kind of stuff, as we do see Jarvan walking, but there is a ward here, and Yengu's just going to clear.
Yeah, I will say, I was promised some bloodshed coming into this Vanquisher split. Again, some of those
Whoa.
top teams coming out. You know, teams playing very aggressive, I remember, was the Vanquisher key in. Teams just wanted to go aggressive, as we see Zhang and Small Chow taking some grass trades here and there, but not ending up losing out too much on either side. I'm a little surprised that we haven't seen more aggression from these early junglers, as Spitella is going to get a nice Mega Fire Kick, which will net them a pretty sizable advantage down here on the bottom side, but it looks like they're just going to turn that into a good recall timing.
Yeah, and, I think early game aggression definitely makes, is definitely more prevalent down here, but compared to Immortal, of course. But I will say, when it comes to these kind of comps where both teams are like, oh, we're waiting for team fighting, oh, they will wait, even when maybe there's a play to be had. So, definitely gonna have to see how they actually navigate it here. I think, Yengu is kind of the key player to unlocking this early game. And if, Kleos can find a nice roam once that level 6 does take over, I assume to see it then. But also just general system changes from the last season compared to now is, people really consider Baron to be weaker at this point, which has been a discussion point lately. So you'd rather have the dragon stacking in the souls as long as you could survive the first Baron. So you'll kind of just give that objective up because of the less gold it gives. That was the change. So, early game does matter a lot more, and I expect teams to adapt over the course of the split. But this is early in the season, so people are going to be figuring out exactly how they want to be playing these games out.
Shao gets a decent trade in there, has opted for the early Bramble Vest. Good versus the Zehen as a champion that does a lot of healing. Want to lessen that healing, he's going to be auto-attacking you, even for as, I would say, arguably as bad of a state as Normal has been in, as Yengu maybe looking for an option here, waited out the Mega Fire Kick, is going to get that Flag and Drag in, but Chris is in the area, and Yengu now the one in trouble, flash forward, looking for the damage, but the heal from Amp should be able to navigate Yengu out of this. Burning a couple of flashes and only losing one on your side. You're feeling pretty good if you're Dorado on that play.
Yeah, shame there from Chris. Misses the W there. That slow definitely would have probably been enough to actually maybe secure the kill on Yengu, but we'll just take that pressure and translate it directly into a Dragon Sneak. There is no idea here, as Jarvan has already backed, so this will be a first free Drake over to Akuma. But that does make sense. They did have lane prowl for most of this early game, so it does make some sense here. And with Tate giving up the wave, for sure, just a free objective. And Jarvan now pinging towards the blue. But Sion is in the area. Will actually drop a nice ward, but Jarvan's going to go towards the inside track. Not going to get spotted out on that one. But they do have a good idea of it, at the very least.
Might get spotted out on the way out, but for now, Yengu should just be able to get this steal. We do see Chris on the way. It's just going to be a matter of how quickly can Yengu get this done and get out of here, as right now with Kleos backing and with Zhang getting that push in, but the wave's starting to bounce back. Yeah, it looks like Yengu is going to get out of that just fine. So you get something out of it at the very least. Obviously, you'd rather have the dragon than the blue buff, but setting your opponent jungler behind even a little bit is something that you're happy to take advantage of.
Yeah, as we still have, pretty slow game here. As far as itemizations go, I don't think anything's too stand out here, as we are going to be seeing the on-hit Varus here with Bork, it looks like. So on his way there. Should have a little bit extra survivability in the side lane once Lucian and Varus kind of peel off to kind of one in mid or even just in bot, so that should at least help out in that scenario. Besides that, gold's pretty even across the board. There is a bit of a gold lead building for Dorado's side here, but mostly just off of the dropped wave that Tate did earlier for that dragon, so we're just seeing a little bit of the cost of that here.
Yeah, there is also a slight gold lead up there in that top side, but a couple hundred gold when you're playing versus the Scion, not taking into account the extra hidden passive that you're getting from that W, the extra health you're getting there. It tends to even itself out. We do also seeing the cull on Small Chow, just trying to take advantage of every possible farm angle as possible. Yengu is going to start up the grubs as Chow will prop that first ultimate just to get back to this wave, clear it out instantaneously. Oh, you love to see it.
Yeah,
yeah, looks like the grubs are just going to be given over for free.
Yeah, Grub's another one that people are like, I don't know how strong this buff is, but as far as champions not to give Grubs to, definitely sounds one of them, so I like Yengu just committing the time here, but, this does mean it will be a very slow early game, and, second Drake could be a big point to kind of explode as far as all the pressure that's been building on the Rift. Chris just kind of looking, but nice warding on the bot side, so resigned in a very comfortable position. Wow, early boots for Victor. I guess the gold must have been a bit awkward, but maybe also helps navigate the extra range Orianna has or in the early game. So I
Yeah.
could see it, but you delaying the first item always feels a little bit unfortunate.
Yeah, delaying the first item never feels incredible, but at the same time, the boots are kind of key for getting the bottom or the mid lane quest upgrade. As Resign, we'll get a decent chunk back there onto Zeranos, and with the Vamp Scepter in inventory, we'll be able to sustain up some of that damage back. It's just going to be a matter of. I'm a little curious about the Blade of the Ring King first instead of the Static Shiv. It was something that we talked about at or during the draft, just like how good Static Shiv Varus has been. So I wonder if it's just going to be sitting on the Vamp Scepter and opting for the Static Shiv after. I'm trying to remember if it has Pickaxe in its build path. I'm fairly certain it does, but for the life of me, I can't remember right now.
Yeah, I think it might as well, but I'm convinced he's just going an early Bork, but we'll have to see. I mean, they've been going the Vamp Greaves as Varus. I'm curious to see how that kind of sways a matchup like a Lucian. So maybe Bork plus Vamp Greaves just means you always beat Lucian in a mid or a side lane, and maybe that's worth it for him. So we'll have to see what that ends up being.
We've had the Omni-Vamp boots for a little bit now, as Zeranos will pop that culling just to get a little bit of damage onto Amp. But now that we've had these Omni-Vamp boots for a little bit now, how are we feeling about them? Because when they got added to the game, I remember a lot of the sentiment was, Omni-Vamp on boots, it's one of those things like lethality on boots we didn't want to do because it might be too strong.
Hold that thought. We do have a dive coming in potentially. Table
Kate
show.
Looking for it. Resign. The Arcane Storm coming in. Wind becomes lightning to knock out the barrier. The heal coming through. Dash in from Chris. Will pick up the first blood. The Crescent Guard and the heal from the warm hugs. Everything used to make sure that Chris escapes. A beautifully executed dive will put Akuma up 2-0.
Yeah, using the Blast Plant to just get over the wall there much earlier than even Resign and Amp were expecting. So good play there from Akuma to start off this one and kind of get some of that gold lead that they were missing earlier, as we do see a full commit here by Jungkook.
Oh, yeah, going all in for this. I'm not sure he can actually pick up the kill. It's just going to be using the ultimate to force Chow out of the lane. Does have teleport and does have ultimate, so we'll be able to get back just fine. I'm not 100% sure about this, but it's also going to give Jungsu a much better recall timing.
Yeah, Jungsu here, as now we do get a bit of a replayer on the bot side, as, you know, the damage from Chaos Storm alone could just take down Resign here, but does commit all the summoner spells. Chris trying to guarantee the kill before any shenanigans can occur, and shout out to Emilio there, just enough healing to get through the turret's damage, but because the play kind of extended a little bit, they did get back on the map a little bit. Jungkook try take advantage. Chris.
Nice smite there by Yanggu. When Becomes Lightning is going to land, and here comes the unstoppable onslaught and slams down into the Jarvan. Yanggu will fall. Jungsu with the dash will be able to get himself out of dodge. And it looks like it is just going to be one given over for the Dragon. Individual Cloud Dragon you're not feeling great about, but stopping them from getting closer to Cloud Soul, or Ocean Souls, excuse me. You're feeling much better about that.
Yeah, definitely still something that is positive here, as we do see the board completed, so our questions are answered here. Resign did end up going that one, so we'll have to see how it actually performs in this, as you know, I do like Dorado just saying, hey, we lost the fight earlier, but you know, it's fine.
Arcane Storm again. Cleos eating a bit of damage. Tate trying for the chase down. One more auto will do it. The empowered strike from Tate finds the solo kill in mid.
Yeah, just way too much damage early on. Amp also taking a nice chunk here. Just did a really good job of guaranteeing both hits on that E there for Victor, and that's more than enough to take down the Orianna early game.
Upgraded boots versus first item. I think that question is also answered. And granted, again, Victor, one of those stat check champions, if he's got the better stats, he's going to win the 1v1. But Cleos, without the tier 2 boots, just couldn't outrun him.
Yeah, the level 11 tick over too for the Victor, definitely pretty strong there. So just aware of what conditions were available there. Victor will get handed a nice blue buff here as well, so it's not going to get much easier for Cleos from here, but really, as we talked about earlier, Orianna combo piece. We'll have to see if they're able to find it. Jarvan now lurking towards the bot side, trying to find some sort of play on Victor, but ward already in the area. as we'll now have to ping to go over the wall. Get spotted on a ward here too. Good vision from Akuma, and the
Yeah.
Jarvan will walk away in discontent.
It does feel like Yanggu has been very stifled in this game. Jarvan is one of those champions that you kind of expect to see early ganking, even in a composition like this that is fairly heavy scaling advantage. You have a Nico Varus bottom lane that is going to sometimes get pushed into with the Melio Lucian. They are a lane that can push, that can get the Varus to tower, especially on hit without that static shiv. I expected to see a little bit more out of Yanggu early, but just didn't have the opportunities. And I credit that less to Yanggu kind of falling apart and missing opportunities. And I think it was more Akuma playing around jungle and vision very well. Their early game has been pretty immaculate so far.
Yeah, it has been solid.
And as I say that, now Tate is going to get locked up. Yanggu finds the opportunity, will gift the shutdown gold over to Cleos thanks to that Blackfire Torch proc. Nicely done by the Dorado jungler.
Yeah, Tate just tin on the trading there. Didn't notice the Jarvan in the bush, so we'll get taken down here. So nice trade kill. That I believe that was a small shutdown, Victor. So still getting a little extra gold as Resign.
Resign does have the barrier. We'll try to bait it out, but the piercing light, Zoranos in the 2v1 says, Resign, you do not have your support. You cannot walk up that far.
Yeah, just trying to squeak out some XP, but not showing enough respect at all. Now,
Flag and drag.
finds Yanggu.
Still gonna land, and now it's a 2v2. Jongsu, they're now gonna jump in onto Small Chow. Nice use of that Unstoppable to get away from the Decimating Smash. Flash forward denies the Unstoppable onslaught, and Small Chow will be forced to just sadly farm the wave with the passive.
Yeah, this Hen just too strong in this 2v2 just so far, and I think also with Chris not being level 11, not exactly the most confident in that one. So, yeah, maybe as a Hen is really the answer here for Dorado. I'm thinking about the conditions, and seems pretty decent. There isn't too much lockdown CC, so it's going to be hard to burst down Zehen, and especially if a revive comes in, that could really be very disastrous, especially with the combo piece of the Jarvanori. So, yeah, it all is hinging on these team fights that I think Akuma has been playing well enough to just kind of deny them with the extra kind of zone threat of a Victor and a Lucian. So, yeah, I'm feeling confident for Akuma, but gold is even with a 5-2 kill score.
We have not seen the full 4v4, 5v5 skirmish just yet from either of these teams, so I think that's going to be kind of a real litmus test for how the rest of this game might end up going. We are seeing some item completions coming through. Zoranos almost finished with that second item already, alongside those tier 2 boots going for the Ionians, not the Berserkers, as Chow will get a decent trade back, but Jongsu getting the grass proc, I think, feeling all right there. This top lane really just kind of has been the farm fest, unless the junglers have come in to interfere.
Yeah, it's not been too much. I don't think Zion has really a place in any trades against the Hen, so it makes some sense as now Dragon is spawned up. Top laners having TP on, so I expect this to be a pretty big fight. Tate already in the bot side, actually just committing that teleport to get in the area. Amp does see this from that bush. Resign also, he has actually a decent flank.
It's not in the brush.
Position, have no vision.
It is gonna leash, so Dragon will reset back. Flag used by Yanggu just to get that vision.
TP coming in.
Who's who? Small Chow is gonna TP in. A little bit later comes Jongsu. That Spin and Smash doesn't find anything. We do see Amp onto that side. Keep your eye on this Nico. Small Chow gonna look for the all-in, but there's Amp on the back line. Finds the engage. Can they manage to clean up with it? Tate does have the Shattered Arm Guard. Yanggu gets the Cataclysm down, but there's no extra follow-up. Jongsu into the back line now with the Shockwave. We'll find one. Maybe they can get Tate out of it, but the heals the shield from Samatel are just too damn much. Kleos will finally come in and clean up one, and they'll get the revive on Jongsu to keep him alive, and ends up being a 2-for-1, but no dragon goes over.
Yeah, that looked really good there from Dorado, but the cleanse there from Spatel was just massive, so able to just get out of a lot of the damage that could have potentially followed through, and nice zoning from Tate as well on the tail end of that play, as we do get a replay here, so see how that actually goes through. Small Chow just starting with the TP. We've been seeing this a lot more, just abusing that extra shielding. Come through, as we do see Amp. Nice flash, Proto Belt finds a bunch, but immediate cleanse from Spatel and able to dodge away from a lot. And, you know, they have to burn through the Sion's HP bar. And, you know, unfortunately, there's just not enough damage on the other side to actually do anything really to this Hen. There's Tate and Lucian on play there, so still pretty solid, and looks like the Drake's still up and ready to be contested for on the picture-in-picture.
Yeah, a couple of key ultimates and summoners not available. Jiangsu waiting for that cooldown alongside Amp, but Amp no longer having the flash. Does have the proto belt, but that's still a little bit neutered on this Nico engage. Yangu waiting for that ultimate cooldown as well, but Akuma, knowing that some of these key cooldowns not available just yet, are going to go for it, but Spatel out of position. Resign will pick up that kill thanks to a nice pull from Jiangsu. Chris will crescent guard away the Nico engage, but Small Chow still a victim. It's a nice decimating smash for 3. Can stop the onslaught as well. Plenty of damage down onto Amp. Maybe can finish it off, but the team is there to support. And Dorado take advantage of Akuma. Just a little floundering around the pit. Next time, their second dragon.
Yes, Patel gets hooked there by Jiangsu, so good awareness just to find that Emilio at the start of the play as we do see the replay here. Serrano's walking away, trying to kind of regroup with the team. This just walks forward, and Serrano's kind of fishes it out, but just wasn't paying attention to the bush right there that was warded, so fortunate
Half and half on the
there
path,
that
you
just
gotta
kind of
make it
kicks
call.
off. Yeah. Nice from Chris here. This definitely would have been just an immediate 2-kill spread there if that Crescent Guard didn't come through, so we're at least seeing stuff play here for Akuma, but the play is too negative as soon as Emilio gets caught out like that.
Yeah, Emilio is kind of a key contributor to the Akuma team fights, just trying to negate a lot of that Nico engage to make sure that the follow-up for Kleos and Yengu is not as easy, because if Yamp can land the CC onto Spatel as well, especially considering that he's not opted for any sort of Mercury treads or any sort of CC reduction, that CC is going to land full duration for everybody that's inside that ultimate, and if Emilio isn't there to cleanse you out and to keep you safe, that's setting up for a beautiful Shockwave Cataclysm combo, but we didn't get to see that because of that great use of the ultimate from Spatel.
Yeah, as we are seeing Turkit take it on the bot side. You know, Jiangsu just trying to force it out, but there's really no pressure here either side. As we are seeing pretty good pressure here from Dorado to actually kind of threaten the Baron. We do see a lot of wards committed to that side, as well as with your Orianna in that top side as well, just to make sure that you have the people in the area. As now they are pinging a lot towards maybe looking for a fight here, as Spatel could get caught out.
Yengu is looking for it, but Resign in the meantime on the other side is just going to get caught out. Will manage to survive thanks to the barrier and the lifesteal, and now Yengu, maybe the one in trouble, has to flag and drag himself away. Amp and Yengu were trying to chase down Chris, but with Resign getting engaged on the other side, they have to back off. And great counter from Akuma there.
Yeah, Zeranos just didn't get the double crit on the auto there, so not able to actually finish
65% too. That's unlucky.
Yeah. So Bear's gonna squeak away there, and that could have been the real big window to maybe look for a bigger fight on the other side, but unfortunately not going their way. So we'll have to be stalled up for another play, and I anticipate just we'll be waiting for the next dragon. I don't think a Baron call will happen anytime soon, just because they still haven't killed the top turret yet. They will get mid here, so maybe it gives a better option. Cuts off a lot of the extra map pressure. Yep, a little bit of the crust just taken out, so...
Like you're taking a bite of pizza, but the wrong way around. You just eat the crust first. As Tate potentially in trouble here. Yengo has a really nice flank angle. We'll just land the flag and drag, and this should knit everything for Amp and for everyone else. We'll pop that Zonya's, but it should just be a kill gifted over to whoever wants it. Kleos now on a rampage. Struggling early, but has picked up a lot of the gold from the team in this mid game, as response from Akuma will be to take that turret in mid lane.
And bot lane as well, so actually, as far as gold's concerned, even if anything, maybe a little bit positive on the Akuma side. So still very good for them. They are pinging towards the Baron, but Baron is still showing in mid. Hasn't been too much of an issue. And we are seeing some pretty significant leads as far as, you know,
He's just
top
starting this.
and mid. So
there's no vision.
a lot of damage.
For Akuma, but yeah,
this is the
just
faded
chunked.
hunting Baron, right? The one that actually does damage compared to the other ones. So
God, those changes were so long
Definitely
ago. I don't
varies.
remember the names for the Barons. I know the pits look different and they do different things. I'm gonna be honest, I still just call it Baron buff. That's still just Baron the whole time.
Oh, me too.
I know they all do different things.
all I know
probably
is
should be
this
more
one has a
informed.
reputation for killing teams. So that's why I think it's called Hunting Baron, but I'm not 100% sure on that. All I know, does a lot of damage
call
if
it
it's the
Hunter
normal
Baron for now.
old Baron pit. Like if it's the good old, then it's the scary one. Oh,
Ooh, Tate.
my God, Tate almost getting caught out.
Counting his minions, gets away from it. I am a little surprised
Was
to say
he?
for resigning. Yeah, obviously he knew, and that's why he started to step back there. Not because there was also Resign and Kleos there. It was because he counted the minions. We got to give him the benefit of the doubt. But I am a little surprised to see no static shifts still from Resign, opting for the Guinsoo's Rageblade's second item, just saying, the team doesn't need wave clear, I just need to be one doing damage, and speaking of damage, Unstoppable Onslaught coming in. It's going to get everything down onto Yengu, and the Jarvan not allowed to play a damn bit of this game. Chaining's coming in. Amp looking for a follow-up on the front line. The Shockwave finds two as well, but again, it's just those frontliners. Dorados and Tate still untouched on this back line, but Jiangsu doing so much healing on the Zahed. It's actually Chao to go down first, as Zahed will revive with that passive. And it's just a 1-for-1 here so far. Dorado's looking for more, flashes forward. He'd be a little ill-advised. Piercing Arrow won't land, so he'll be able to walk away, but flashing into that damage, very risky. And now with that lowered health bar, he needs to try and sustain up on these minions. Everyone else so far, just trying to maintain pressure on this Dragon Pit.
Yeah, with Cleo's full HP too, it's just a little bit too hard to contest Dragon, even though I know Akuma wants it here. They just can't afford to, with Serranos and Tate kind of being lower than they'd like. Still have the flash on the Victor, but, you know, especially with Lucian committing flash at the tail end there, not getting anything, will just be called off here. And this should be just a free Dragon for Dorado.
I think if he doesn't, then maybe he can pick up the Dragon, but let's see how this started. Small Chao, finding a great angle in this ultimate.
Yeah, just immediately finds Yengu on the front, and they know that is your angle. You immediately kill the Jarvan. That is a lot of the engage pressure immediately gone. Has to force the Chains of Corruption as well. Chris once again knocking away the Nico for a slightly less impactful ultimate, but still, these fights, Resign and Cleo's just doing so much damage to that front line. Can't actually tank up for as long as carries would like, and here at the end, to find Amp Serranos at the very end, but a nice timing on the invis means there's not even a auto flip up there, so after that, plays just kind of muted out, and Dorado will claim that third Dragon for themselves because of that, so...
We like seeing aggression from players, but sometimes that's what happens when you play too aggressive. We all remember the days of Jackie Love ulting into backlines as Kaisa and getting himself insta-deleted as Chris now, speaking of over-aggressive, is going to get caught by the Shockwave. No damage, but the reposition should be enough for them to just pick it up. Now dominating is Cleo's Flash, Flag, and Drag! Yengu finds his target, and Zerado's now potentially the one in trouble, but he's going to be able to dash out of there thanks to that quick Blades flashed away from those Chains of Corruptions as well, as Patel will manage to survive. And Akuma now on the back foot here, losing momentum after that lost Dragon, and now it's Dorado looking towards the Baron.
Yeah, they will be looking towards the Baron here. This should be relatively free. Zahen already kind of moving up towards that top side, so should just be able to claim this one. I don't even think it's advisable to try and contest this. I think you have to look for a fight later when you do have your Xin Zhao back, so it's unfortunate, but the give has to be the angle. For
some
Akuma
poke,
here.
maybe some exit frags, but again, it's so risky with Amp and Cleos just playing interference. They're going to start positioning for it, but the Baron is already gone. It will go over to Dorado, and again, this is what we like to see. I loved seeing the aggression here from Yengu, knowing that Zeranos doesn't have flash. Even if he does have the dash up, just being able to chunk him out and force him out of the play means no pressure on the Baron. Your team can turn towards it and take it. And I think something else we haven't mentioned yet, there's a 14-stack Magi sitting in the inventory of Cleos. For the struggle that was happening in the early game, he's collected himself a pretty penny there in his inventory.
Yeah, and until that Magi gets taken out as a strong Orianna, it does not matter what patch she's playing, so definitely going to be pretty terrifying on this one, as we do see the Terminus get finished up here for the Varus, and third item of that Infinity Edge for the Lucian as well. So hitting the big breakpoints that you want to see for these major carries, but Chris getting caught out again on the top side.
Corruptions, Chris! Too far out of position. The heal and the support's not there. Tate flashes away, just barely gets away from the Pop Blossom, but should still go down. Cleos popping their own arm guard to make sure that they escape from that Arcane Storm. Resign now on a killing spree. Patel trying to help out their mid laner, but just cannot do enough. Resign with the Piercing Arrow picks up a double kill, and now Dorado, firmly in the driver's seat, are going to start to open up this game.
Yeah, Dorado just taking advantage of these small individual mistakes over and over, so they will just... With Baron in their pocket, this should be a pretty clean way to go towards the end here. Small Chao and Yengu. This could be a 2v2 on this side, but they aren't going to opt for it. Just maybe get some wave clear through it. And mid lane turret will go down as well. They don't want to overplay their hand here for Dorado, so they will just allow Chris to respawn and play for that next Drake. See how it started off. Chris just immediately going from the engage here. Doesn't think Kleos is in a respectable position. Just gets immediately taken down. And honestly, amazing flash here from Tate. Tries to go for as much as possible here on the tail, but unfortunately just too bad of a position. And supports were there for side of Dorado, and Patel goes down as well. So it's just a nice chain play. 1-to-1-to-1, and they're able to pick up even more on the top side.
Yeah, and now it's just a matter of what else can Dorado do with the remnants of this Baron buff. Not too much time left on it. Maybe they can pick up another wave and get it pushing in towards this bottom side, as that does seem to be their target. I'm not sure they're going to be able to reach the turret thanks to the wave clear of Tate, but it's just a matter of what can they do with it. We see Yengu and Amp on that side trying to get a flank angle here, but good vision control from Akuma means that they're not going to be able to get anything, but the siege will continue, and it's not going to stop for a while. This is just a little rough. Unstoppable onslaught. It finds the right target. Amp is not going to be able to get anything done in this team fight. Zeranos picks up that kill with the culling, but immediately flashes away from the shockwave. Chains of Corruption are going to land on him. Zeranos somehow survives. Spatel putting in the work. Youngu forced into the Guardian Angel will manage to get out of there with the Flag and Dragon. Kleos now picking up the combo just to pick up the kill on Chris, going legendary on the Orianna. A messy exchange, but Dorado managed to still come out on top.
Yeah, that was pretty much as good of a condition as you could get. Nice ult there from Small Chow. Just great job to start that one off on an angle where Jarvan can't really protect. And, you know, you lose your big engage of the Nico, but the Chains of Corruption just rooting up basically everyone, applying those stacks as well, just meant the damage is there for the side of Dorado. And I don't know, Zerado's living was definitely pretty massive, but because of the way that the front line kind of blew up, still didn't have enough space to actually go for anything. And this will be Soul now for Dorado.
Yeah. So you know how Zahen's healing is like really good.
I was
on
just
its
about
own,
to say
right?
that, yeah.
And then he also has Ocean Soul and also has Death's Dance. Like, I don't think we're seeing the Zahen die for the rest of this game. I'm gonna be honest. If he doesn't go perfect, I think something has gone terribly wrong. But I will say,
Yeah, now I'll go for it.
Patel did a great job there with the ultimate cleansing, but the thing you have to remember about the Chains of Corruption is even if that first target gets cleansed, that AoE is still there. It will still spread to whoever gets close. You still have to find a way to get away from that, and we saw it there. Akuma just didn't have the space to navigate away from it, and like you said, caught everybody, managed to keep people locked down, and kept Dorado in the fight, even after what was a pretty good start from Akuma.
Yeah, for sure. And, you know, speaking on the Zahen point as well, you know, once he hits level 18, that res is up pretty much every fight, so maybe not this one in particular, but maybe the next one. So definitely gonna have to figure out an angle to even look for anything. Resign. Will get slowed up here. Nice flash.
Chow pulled back. They're looking for the burst onto the sign, but he's got the ultimate used defensively. No shout of cowards, just charging in the opposite direction, but that is kind of the state of the game, unfortunately, for Akuma. Just put too far behind. The wallet difference at this point, 12,000 in favor of Dorado. And now with that third inhibitor going down, Dorado just looking for the clinical end. They don't want to make any sort of mistakes and just looking to end it cleanly.
Yeah, they do have a pretty decent wave coming in from the top side, so they will have that to play around with the super minion as well. So Serrano's trying to get onto that wave now, but they could just look for an engage. They have some pretty good long-range engage that they could look for. If Tate walks a little bit too far forward, could immediately get taken down, but trying to show the respect the Zanyas here. Yengu
Yeah, they can't engage on Tate. They have to find either Spatel or Zeranos, and those are not the easiest targets to get on top of, especially with Small Chow playing interference, and Chris as well now with the Guardian Angel as well. It feels like Dorado is maybe overstaying their welcome here. They have the Ocean Soul, so it's not exactly like they're feeling pressured to step back. But yeah, now with the double super
wave 3 of, so here's a good chance, and they just call it off. Baron's up. Why risk it at this point? So we'll just walk it out here towards it, and there is zero chance of a contest here for Akuma as well. As soon as that third inhib goes down, I mean, you're just dealing with super minions all day, so Well played
Granted,
here
it's
for
a lot of
Dorado.
golden experience as long as you continue to clear it out, but at the same time, you're also dealing with 6 super minions in your base alongside the entirety of the enemy team with Ocean Soul, and now also with the Baron buff.
Yeah, it's gonna be pretty difficult. Now they just run down mid and
Surely you
buff
just
these
walk it down mid,
minions.
engage on the first person you see, and just win the team fight. Yeah, you're up this far in terms of gold, you have the item advantage, you have the engage advantage. I mean, there is not a single lane where the gold is even close to even. Bottom lane combined 2,000 apart. That's about as close as it gets, just 1,000 between each members, and that's still a pretty sizable lead.
Yeah. I mean, the real big lead, obviously, in the top lane and mid lane. Hey, Tate, great early game lane. After that mid game hit and the Orianna combo, or just the pressure of Orianna being so far ranged into stuff like Lucian and Victor here, definitely playing a massive factor in their success so far. We do see the potions coming through here for Tate. This is the last hurrah here for Akuma in game 1.
Small Chow, you see on the bottom of your screen, looking for an angle here with that Unstoppable Onslaught. We'll find one. Is this the angle that they need? Crescent Guard. It tries to deny Amp, who will get onto that backline. They found Tate. They have deleted the Victor, and that should be the end of this game. Small Chow goes down as well as Dorado's desperate on the backline, trying to get damage done, but versus Yengu and Jongsu, it's just nothing doing. A double kill for Resign, flashing into the base. The game is done. Dorado will take game 1 of week 1.
Well played there from Dorado, able to secure it in a pretty clean fashion after a couple of individual errors from Akuma and really just snowballing it into a full victory. So well played from them, and you know, I think that was a good showcase of what makes them pretty good. Like, I think they were able to show, hey, when we have the engage tools, it makes a lot of sense. Now, if they don't have such easy engage tools, they were kind of struggling to find openings in the early game. So you know, I'm curious to see whether, like, if you pull back all the way from the Nico and the Jarvan and also even Varus, what the team would look like. But guess what? They don't really have to deal with this. This is only a best of 3. You don't have to go that deep into your strategies. You got your surface level stuff. So I honestly just expect them to play something somewhat similar. And it's, you know, what is going to be the adaptation here for Akuma here? The big thing is Akuma didn't really have an engage tool. They're consistently getting engaged from Small Chow, just clicking R, which, I mean, it's not the best ult to engage with, but it definitely is an ult to engage with. So maybe with a bit more of an option to start off a fight onto these longer range compositions, maybe they have a better chance, but unfortunately not that way here in game 1.
Yeah, something we often talk about is go buttons, and that's something that Dorado had in spades. Pretty much anybody on the team outside of, honestly, maybe Jongsu has the worst engage on the team, which is kind of crazy to say for the top lanes ahead, because he can kind of just walk forward and be the engage. Everybody else on the team has a go button, can just say, hey, we're starting a pick or we're starting a team fight now, and that's kind of just what Dorado did.
Yeah, so for them, it looks pretty solid, but as I said, little shaky early game. They did definitely have some unforced errors on the other side that they themselves took advantage of. So in the absence of that kind of stuff, we'll have to see how it actually plays out. But as far as game's turn, I think they got that game from a position that looked kind of disadvantageous early on. So I think that's still pretty well played from them. And apologies to everyone. Yes, I'm lagging. Thanks, Spectrum. I love them
Spectrum.
so much.
We love
Yeah,
ISPs.
yeah.
They're great. Well, while Golden Gad recovers from the poor lagging that they're going through, we're going to cut to a quick break while we get ourselves ready for game number 2 of Dorado Gaming Kappa versus Akuma Adolla Verse. We'll be right back on the other side, so don't go anywhere, don't touch that dial. We'll see you after the break. Welcome back, everybody. Regardless of, we are getting ourselves ready. If my mouth can speak English words, we're getting ourselves ready for game number 2, Dorado. After what we would describe as a here and there early game, came out to a very strong mid game, punished a lot of the mistakes that Akuma made, and ended up coming out on top in pretty decisive fashion.
Yeah, it looked pretty good as soon as the ball got rolling for them. It was a bit of a slow early game where they did have a couple of hiccups here and there, but didn't end up mattering too much as they were able to go ahead and take the win here for Dorado, and they will be now on the blue side. So Akuma opting for the swap here as they were the losers in that last game. So we're going to be seeing similar bans here. No Kassadin this time. Will be that Ari first ban here, especially because you're on that red side. You don't want to give a strong blind pick champion like Ari. As we are seeing a lot of the more lane-orientated AD carries get taken off the table here. The Corki, the Caitlyn. I think the only other kind of strong one at this point would be, well, mages, but they don't count. And then also, of course, probably like Ashe, I guess. So curious to see what the bans here will be for Dorado, as we do see Braum get immediately banned as well. So
yeah,
I'm really not wanting to see that early.
Second phase of the first game. Akuma have now fully swapped up bans for this second game, and I like seeing that from teams, showing that you're not just kind of banning whatever, wherever, just trying to show that you have different plans for different sides of the map, and maybe you're adjusting to the team based on the results of the first game, things you like to see. Seraphine is going to make it through, which means Seraphine is going to be the first pick for Dorado. I imagine that will be paired up with an Ashe unless Akuma takes it to pair it with something else. It's just a matter of what they would do that with, and that is what they're going to do. I like splitting it up. It's just going to be a matter of how are you going to make this work? Because you don't have Braum, which is another one of those good 2-1-2 support AD carry matchups. Are you going to pair it with something like, I would say Melio, but Melio's gone. You're going to lock in Pantheon, which technically can be support. It's not something we see very often nowadays, but it's still there.
Yeah, I assume that would be jungle. I do like Kong ban because Lilia ban kind of indicates you kind of want to go Wukong first pick. So I like it in that way. It's gonna be Unara Seraphine, which I don't know how that combo exactly goes, but it doesn't seem the worst. At least you do have a slow in your kit, so you can really set up a big play. And we will see Mbessa locked in as well. Probably answering the Pantheon, but I could imagine if there's a better tank pick that you could play the Mbessa into, you could potentially see that get flexed over. So really keeping your options open here, as we do see Talia. Kind of surprising to see nowadays, but yeah, as you call it out, Pantheon Talia, kind of a classic. They do have that double global for immediate dives on the bot lane, so it makes a lot of sense to put them together. Well. This is true. And then we also have Kassadin ban out now, so Akuma finally was like, hey, we now showed that we're going to play Talia, so I think it's fair to say we should ban that champion here. Do you see Rumble also taken off the table? Damage is pretty high for Akuma, but not necessarily like outstanding scaling wise, so
they want something that can go later
on the Rumble. Yeah, so you could just go with Cassante though, like a high damage option.
One of these tankier top laners, something like that.
Yeah, just so they have the flexibility, and you leave your support counter pick. Well, actually, no, you could just lock support here, get your counter pick on the top side, as it will be the Leona, of course. So makes a lot of sense.
With the squishy bottom lane, I like the Leona pick. I think this is good. Ashe Leona is another one of those like kind of classic lanes. It was kind of Seraphine Ashe before Seraphine was a thing. You have less range, you have less like variable engage. When Leona goes in, she is in. There's not really a way for her to get out. So that will be a lot more committal in terms of the bottom lane engage, but into a squishier comp like this, that's kind of okay. But these last two picks from Dorado, I think, are really good to counteract what Akuma is already showing. And Malphite and Lissandra, great counter-engaged champions.
Yeah, I love the Lissandra pick. Malphite I'm not so sold on, because you do leave yourself open to stuff like this, Swain in the top side. So that'll be pretty interesting. Good luck over to Jiangsu. Oh, wait.
Yeah, no fun allowed top lane.
Hold up. Malphite mid.
Malphite mid versus the Talia? Okay. I mean, that's still going to be kind of a miserable experience. You're not having fun either lane you go, but at the very least, it's a shorter lane, so you're not as hard punished. And Lissandra does have the frozen path, so she has some mobility to get out of sticky situations up there in top side. I don't know how I feel about this.
I don't mind it.
I don't know. I don't mind it. I don't hate it. It's just going to be a matter of how it works out when we actually get onto the Rift. I want to see more aggression from the junglers in this game. We do have that Mbessa jungle. We were expecting that to be a solo laner. Ends up hopping into the jungle. That's one of the nice things about Mbessa, that flexibility. But you have Pantheon, you have Leona, you even have Talia, who's fairly good early game on finding, like, some kind of aggression. Wait, hang on, it's flipping up again. It's Malphite jungle? We're doing
Hold up.
Malphite jungle? Okay, alright.
Hold
Throw
up.
everything I said out of the window. It's all out. Malphite is not going to do anything until level 6, so we're not going to see anything from him. So now it's on Chris, specifically, to pair up with Tate, to pair up with Spatel, to pair up with Chow, get some kind of advantage early. Make something happen. That first ultimate needs to be so key for Akuma.
Yeah, I am a little concerned for Akuma as far as damage is concerned. I'm not sure if you can really get through an Ambessa Lissandra Malphite with a Seraphine behind it.
With the Seraphine Disdain.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. The Swain is definitely going to have to pop off here. I don't think there's really an option, but Lissandra's so good at kiting out Swain. So it's going to be pretty difficult for Small Chow here, but I think definitely one of the players that really needs to come into his own in this one. So pretty curious to see how to go. We are seeing a little bit of aggression. Yangu wants to get an early ward here on the Raptor Pit. We'll get that successfully.
Getting an electrocute proc down onto Tate. Ooh, half HP for the Talia already. We'll get some damage back thanks to the Comet, but forced to lose a potion level 1 never feels good.
Yeah, do see the wards just traded out here as we do have the double range on the side of Dorado, so it's gonna feel a little bit similar to last game's bot lane, where, you know, theoretically the double ranged should have a decent chance, especially taking a good chunk of damage here in that early game, so gonna have to try and navigate that later, and we'll hit Spatel on that.
It is.
As
this
well.
is something that we were talking about before the stream even started. Actually, just the kind of downfall of these support enchanters. Aerie getting its damage nerfed, getting the shielding also hit a little bit as well, and Aftershock, especially the early armor and magic resist getting buffed, means you can take a lot more aggressive engages. As long as you get that Aftershock off, you're going to be taking a lot less damage early on. But I think it's actually kind of a good call, and I think this is going to be a good idea of how well because these tank supports are going to be playing into these range matchups. Because we did see Spatel and Zeranos, for as much as the team did struggle and did lose in the end, they had a great laning phase together. They were very obviously in sync and finding good trades, good engages. Zeranos especially, playing a great aggressive Lucian.
Yeah, so we'll have to see how that adapts now that Spatel is on that pick as well. I will say during the draft, I was a little surprised to see the Seraphine locked in first. Typically, when you're okay with, you know, taking it first, you take the Ashe just because the pairings are generally easier to make. So seeing a Seraphine makes sense to me, but it must have been something that they just practiced already. So, yeah, I don't know. It's just a little bit unorthodox for the most part, so they have to feel a little bit confident in this pairing for the most part.
Yeah, this is a rough early game for Jiangsu, especially now with Small Chow being able to take advantage of Deathfire Touch. Swain, one of those champions that I think, especially in top lane playing the range versus melee, one of those champions that really does take super good advantage of it. We can already see there on the trades getting the health procs. The mana is going to start to become a worry, as is the issue with a lot of ranged top laners versus these manaless melees, and Jiangsu getting a great engage off Electrocute proc down to the Small Chow. Won't be able to finish off the kill. No spells available in the rotation, but a great good look on exactly what this matchup looks like.
Yeah, good. Well played there from Jiangsu, just getting the damage. Yangu gonna put down a deep ward here. Won't be able to get any dive shenanigans, I doubt. Chris also going to be walking towards that Krugs as well. Will not be spotted out by Pantheon or anything, so yeah, I do like the Ambessa adaptation of the Electrocute. I think this is something pretty early on they figured out, hey, if you just go Electrocute, you could potentially beat some of these mage picks on the top side as Ambessa, so see how it paid off there in that last play, especially with the low mana pool of the Swain, so that'll be definitely more of a factor as we move on. Double longsword and inventory, so actually getting a good buy as well. So I think a lot of the early woes of the lane should be mitigated for the most part now that there is good damage to pressure out Swain.
Yeah, Spatel doing that good supportly duties, holding the wave, making sure that Zeranos can come back to it. But did get the early back off for the cull, so the Ashe going to be a little bit stronger in the early until we see Resign go pick up that first item. Does have the extra longsword as well, so if there is a trade, it's minorly in favor of Resign, but then you also have to think about how much more early game Leona is going to do than early game Seraphine. The healing, not as powerful early on, even with the changes to it. That means it doesn't rely on having so many teammates around. Seraphine's going to be weaker early than Leona is in that all-in.
Yeah, for sure. And like the disengage options for Dorado are so good. You have Seraphine, you have Lissandra. These are champions made to disengage, and you have a bunch of champions that really want to stay sticky. You know, Talia and Swain and Pantheon, but you know that may not be an option for them come that mid game here. As we do see Akuma once again going for an early Drake here, and it's gonna be completely uncontested. It looks like so. Just showing a difference in priority for both of these teams.
Yeah, that first dragon should just go over to Akuma. I think they're happy to take that one, especially for free. They know Yengu's on the top side of the map. Early Chemtech Dragon, I feel like I harp on it every single time we see it, but the individual stats that Chemtech Dragon gives are really good, and Dorado not having access to the tenacity or the heal and shield power is going to be impactful. When you're looking at Ashe, when you're looking at Leona, when you're even looking at the entire comp from Akuma, that extra bit of tenacity matters so much for chaining CC.
Yeah, for sure. We now see, I mean, Yengu should be getting close to level 6. This Scuttle is pretty important, I think.
The Scuttle gets you level 6 after you clear. Whoever gets that first Scuttle gets level 6. So Yengu will have it. It's just a matter of what can the Malphite do with it.
Trying to walk around. Spatel won't get spotted here. No ward in that bush. Serranos will get tagged.
Slowed up. Just a little bit of extra damage. We do see Yengu in the wings waiting as Ultimate popped on the top side, sidesteps the public execution, but Jiangsu just has so much damage early in the USF. Forced to flash away, though, from the Never move, not wanting to get caught in the Swain Whirlwind. So Ultimate traded for Ultimate, and Flash goes in favor of Small Chow. Not how I expected that top lane trade to go out.
Yeah, if that E actually does hit, the healing from the passage should be more than enough for the trade to come through. Yeah, Bessa's cooldowns early game always known to be very long, so I like the awareness there from Jiangsu to know I probably will die here if I actually try and tank this. So well played there. Small Chow saving the flash as well will be pretty instrumental as soon as that public execution's back online.
Yeah, good sidestep on that public execution as well. I think if any extra ability lands there for Jiangsu, just one more little tick of damage, they can probably stick around for the all-in. Small Chow would be low enough that even the heal wouldn't be able to just save them from that 1v1, but I think good presence of mind from Jiangsu to not just tunnel in on the, oh, he's so low, I can finish him off, understanding the limits of how much healing Swain actually has in the early game.
Yeah, and especially, you know, probably will get eventually the heal cut, but at this point, not exactly the most worth it. You'd rather just get even more damage trying to offset it. So, at least for now,
there's not a ton of healing on the Akuma team outside of Chow.
Yeah, that as well. It's pretty much only going to be a little bit of healing on from the Ashe, just nature of the champion, but, well, nature of the role, really. So, not the most value as far as a mid to late game is concerned. Unless we see another Ocean Soul somehow.
Yengu unseen here, looking for the angle in mid lane. Meanwhile, topside, Jiangsu will get another good trade into Chow. Yengu holding on to the ultimate and flash, not over-indexing on trying to pick up that kill on Tate. It looks like they're going to try and just opt for grubs instead. Even with how much weaker this objective has been, Dorado has put a good amount of emphasis on it early on.
Yeah, and it paid off well there. It had a massive turret advantage early on. It was do see an ult on the bot side.
Ooh, double ultimates on the bottom side. Nice use of the defensive summoners. Everything from Resign and Amp. Ultimates, flashes, cleanses, the whole 9 yards. But they do manage to escape with their lives and take a lot of time away from the Akuma members.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of have to double global just to get onto that play. And since it didn't end up working out, that is so much on the map that they have to afford here. So the grubs will go over, and they will also lose a couple I think almost a full wave in mid lane as well. So just gonna be a little bit rough of a look here from Akuma, and just well played there from that lane. Resign using the ultimate to get the dash first, then flashing away from the Talia so the rocks don't end up stopping you. So yeah, just well played from them, and you know, contributing a little bit to that disengage option, but Amp didn't even use the encore, so
didn't even have it at that point. I think it was still level 5 actually, as we saw Spatel ding 6 on that dive, or on the attempted dive that didn't end up managing to find any angles. As Small Chow potentially in trouble here. Jiangsu trying to get him to walk out to this wave, but Yengu not wanting to go in for it, knows that with the ultimate Swain, kind of difficult to kill even in the 2v1. They'll just walk away and take the advantage state that Jiangsu kind of just has this wave in.
Yeah. We are now. I mean, I think it's pretty interesting. We're already also seeing the items from Yengu. First item, Zeke's Convergence. Obviously did receive a bit of a buff coming into the season.
That's day one 2026 patch is what that is. I love it.
Yeah. And it did get a tiny nerf, but really it's pretty similar to how it was. So I actually kind of like it. Gives you a little bit more utility after you commit that initial ult as well. So we'll see how that ends up. Cleos dodging away from that rocks. That is pretty rare to actually happen there where you get flipped.
Yeah. Angle not
in the right direction, but yeah.
Yengu potentially looking for an opportunity here. Chris in the area as well. I don't think either jungler actually knows that they're here, but we are seeing ping, so maybe Yengu knows a little more than I'm giving him credit for. Chris will end up being forced to walk back, and this is just going to give advantage of the pit over to Dorado, and Akuma has globals soon, but neither of those global ultimates are up yet, importantly, and Dorado just going to start the dragon.
I think you're just too scared to walk into Malphite Lissandra here. Even Chris, who has the damage mitigation from the E, that's not going to matter that much when you're CC'd for 4 seconds. So, very much so, just going to have to give that one up. It will be Hex Tech Soul in this one. So, the big bad is going to rear its ugly head in this one. So,
one of the better individual souls.
Yep. Gotta love just, oh, I hit the wave and suddenly I haven't engaged? No way.
Yeah, and decent damage as well. It's no Infernal Dragon, but it's certainly respectable.
Yeah, so we'll have to see who ends up pulling away with that one. I think so far it's looking good for Dorado. I think you got through the early game with this Malphite jungle, and now is when it gets to just kind of walk around, do as you please, a little Mundo action for the most part, and Pan life is just going to get harder and harder as it goes on. And
yeah,
you haven't gotten your Swain in the top side to an early lead, and I don't know. It feels like you kind of had conditions where you need to push the game state a little bit here for Akuma, and it just hasn't happened yet.
Yeah, I mean, I mentioned it in draft. I want to see aggression from the Pantheon. The first ultimate needs to be impactful. And speaking of first ultimate, flashed away from by Tate. The Glacial Prison will be there, but Kleos is going to take a good amount of damage. Not enough, though. Tanking up on the Lissandra and will net themselves first blood.
Almost the cross map, Small Chow showing the respect. Oh, we got Pantheon flashing in the mid lane.
Chris,
finds Lissandra on the tail end.
We'll get some revenge at the very least. Catching them on the greed to clear up that wave and get the push in. Might even be able to hold it for his mid laner. Wow, what a homie.
Hey, he's got TP. This is not that big. If it was no TP...
He's just going to take the wave. He took the cannon and then walked away. I went from hero to solo queue jungler in a second.
Yeah. Man, Serrano's also taking a lot of poke here on the early portion here before the wave gets to crash in, so this is also not going to be pretty easy for Spatel and Zeranos now that Cleanse is back in the pocket of Resign. So as far as like just agency on 2-on-2, there just really isn't much here for the Akuma bot lane. So
yeah,
I expect them to just be in survival mode. Yeah.
Want to see this Leona move. Want to see that ultimate come down and get something done. Now that you know that Kleos has no flash in the mid lane especially, you can make something happen there.
Yeah, and with your 80 carry recall here, I mean, you're homeless right now. Just even sticking around seems a little bit futile.
It looks like Tate and Chris may be looking for a play towards bottom side, but without that Grand Starfall, it's really difficult to get both members in at that same timing. And now Yengu has found Chris as Tate has got his eyes on the bottom side of the map. Now caught between a rock and a hard place in a literal sense, forced to use the ultimate defensively instead, as now Kleos gonna pop the Glacial Prison. Chris looking to just get bursted down. The Sundered Sky healing. It's just not enough. He goes back in. A great ultimate from Spatel will get something done, but there's Yengu back in onto the back lines. Zeranos and Spatel take it so damn low. Flash forward from Resign, looking to pick up some kills, but just not enough damage. The exhaust comes through. A double kill over to Small Chow, who teleported in and makes the play happen. Amp now on the run. Kleos looking to threaten in, but it's just nothing. Doing a triple kill to the top laner of Akuma.
That's dicey. Giving 3 kills over to the Swain is definitely probably the scariest thing that could have happened. That is optimal conditions here for Akuma. Nice CC onto Resign Air, just flashes forward immediately into the Ash Arrow and just gets comboed down. So gives a lot of extra time to the Swain and forces a disengage. Cleos now, trying to look for something, but...
Ooh, seismic shove does not land. Tate maybe can find a kill there with the shove, but playing on a nice edge here, both mid laners. We do see that top lane turret does go down. Jungsu did not have the teleport, so did opt to just keep pushing in. And we can see exactly what happened on this play after Chris went for this back in.
Yeah, Chris unfortunately goes back in directly into the spinning W there from Resign, and Resign goes for the cleanse immediately on the Leona ultimate there, even though there was really no threat of damage, so that probably is what cost him right here. As he does go down, Yengu eventually gets taken down as well, but really big ultimate there from Amp. The Encore just going through a couple members there, really setting up that play, but unfortunately with Swain using the TP advantage there,
speaking of Swain, ooh, good sidestep on that public execution again. Jiangsu looking for the all-in, but Small Chow not giving it to him. And now Amp a little bit too far forward without any sort of vision. This should just be a clean pickup. Somebody's got to find this last hit. Nobody does! Amp is going to be able to walk out for free. Now teleport in from Jiangsu, and Small Chow doesn't have an angle for it. Spatel will be the one to go down, and Dorado take advantage of a bad punish by Akuma.
Yeah, it looked so good, but even, you know, Leona ult does go wide there, which definitely did play a factor, just allowing a little bit of extra time for Amp to walk out that one. So that is
press the quicker stun first. Let them walk into your melee. Hit him with the shield bash. Now looking for a contest on the Dragon. Smite's going to go over to Yengu. Massive ultimate onto 3, but can they find anything more as Jiangsu is already gone? There's 2, there's 3. A double kill over to Chris. Will they manage to find anything else with those picks, though, as it's only the Rift Herald up Baron, not for another 3.5 minutes.
Yeah, Akuma finds another kill here, or no, another couple kills, but they do lose the Dragon for it. So, you know, you kind of take your trade-off here. It's Hextech Soul, but this is going to be a lot of gold in the pockets of Akuma. Maybe they can snowball this into that next objective that will be that Rift Herald. Maybe potentially for even more gold here. So I like that we're seeing some action from Akuma. You definitely don't want to just go out with a whimper and sweep 1 here. So you immediately just find the flip onto 2, the crucial carries. And just no damage left. And we'll just get taken down immediately and well played. Small Chow just always being the beneficiary here, and Swain was the important member we were talking about earlier on in the draft. So just seeing that from Swain is definitely pretty optimal.
From Amp and Resign, I think any other bottom lane, or a lot of other bottom lane pairings, this turret probably goes down, but just the Seraphine plus the Yunara able to clear out that wave well enough that nothing doing for Akuma.
Yeah, we are seeing, you know, with the extra space on the map and a lot of vision on the top side, Jiangsu actually does have quite a bit of room to play with, but still trying to show some respect, maybe get a little bit of a freeze on the wave, just to deny some extra gold here. As far as the cross map, we are seeing the bot laners kind of converge. We do have the Pantheon ultimate available, so I can expect a combo to come through if anyone kind of oversteps the line.
The ultimates are there for
though,
Akuma.
trying to cover in the mid side. Definitely where Chris is looking. So we do see Talia roaming over as well.
Arrow not finding anything, and there's the counter ultimate from Yengu. Chris pulls the Grand Starfall, but it's way too far back. Yengu still tanking up on the front line. Encore will not find anybody, but Spatel's already gone down. Small Chow now on the front line, trying to just tank up as much as possible. But this Swain is not tanky enough. Cleos finds it with the Glacial Prison. Nice flip. We'll get the stun down onto Resign, but there's no more follow-up. Akuma's carries already gone, and it's just Chris and Tate looking to defend this mid-wave. But it's going to be Rift Herald over to Dorado.
Yeah, Dorado just doing what made them so good in that first game. They exploit one person's kind of incorrect positioning and just immediately blow up that team fight. As, you know, the Ashe, Zorano's looking for a fight there. Wants it so bad, just trying to kick it off. And yeah, just immediately gets taken down, and that's your Ashe. A lot of the damage, and with a nice encore to come through as well as Resign just completely untouched. There's no way this fight is winning, so solid play here from Dorado as they just exploit another person's positioning to start off that play.
There's so
and that was good gut though.
It was a great sidestep onto the arrow, but as soon as 2 of those engage ultimates miss, it feels like you kind of just have to say, well, Chris and Zeranos, you're left out to dry. This play is not happening anymore, but Akuma overinvest, and Dorado, great timing and great positioning on the punish. It's just, life is so difficult now for these Akuma members.
Yeah, we're seeing, you know, now the vision get shifted towards the bot side. We got 1 minute 30 on this dragon. I really want to deny Dorado having the ability to have soul point. When you have these engage heavy compositions, something like a Malphite where it can just kind of snap engage, you need to have position on these objectives, and that gets harder as the game goes on. So just looking for how that actually plays out. We have Best on the top side, and we have Swain Malphite, or Lysandra Malphite looking up towards Small Chow here. I'm not sure if they have the damage to actually take down the Swain all at once.
Yeah. Kleos is opting for the Imperial Mandate second item. In case you were unaware, this item did get changed. It now gives ability haste to crowd control abilities. Any crowd control abilities. This includes ultimate abilities, so Lysandra's ultimate
does it count
will be
slows?
on. I don't think it does because it's specifically immobilizing, and they've tagged immobilizing as not being able to control your character. So things like charms, knockups, roots, but I don't think it counts slows. And the other effect that it gives is when you hit somebody with one of those CC abilities, you inflict them with... It's now a condition instead of just a singular mark that makes them take 6% more damage. It's kind of like a secondary blood song, and it ends up being pretty damn impactful for the champions that can build it. It just means, you know, rest in peace, my girl Nami. You're not really building that item anymore.
If you think about it, it's like a team Horizon Focus. So we do see just the Weaver's well committed.
Everybody gets effective a Blood Song, everybody gets effective a Horizon Focus. It's pretty good, yeah.
Yeah. So we do see now Dragon up. And this is the problem. You gotta walk into a Malphite Seraphine. You do get a nice route just to start off the fight. Good chunk onto Kleos a little bit. Patel really has to find an insane angle on this ult, but with Resign having cleanse, this is just not easy. Chris clearing up the mid wave. They are not going for this fight.
Yengu is going to get CC'd up. Chris looking for the backline. The Grand Starfall. Smite comes through from Yengu, though. Can they finish out the fight? Encore onto the backline. Finds two. But do they find them soon enough? Spatello's already gone down. So has Yengu. Resign still alive on the backline, but not super healthy. A double kill over to Chris. He'll pick up some kills off of that Pantheon, but how much more can they get? Resign and Amp on the wrong side of the map. Resign just trying to get some turret damage down here. Maybe can take the turret as Amp is going to sacrifice their life for it. Does Resign actually picks up the turret? I don't think you're going to manage to get an execute here, but we'll stall plenty of time. And just decides to the eye, gets executed. Wow, nicely done to Resign. And picks up a turret, gets the execute as well. Dragon goes over to Dorado. I think if you're Resign, you're dealing all right with that.
Yeah, and getting the Dragon here, you're on that soul point, so it feels very singular for Dorado. It's, hey, we're getting to soul. It doesn't matter the cost here. They would have liked to win that fight, but a massive CC came down onto, I believe, Kleos and Resign to start this fight.
Watch this Grand Star as well. Huge damage as well.
Did not get the exhausted time to just be able to protect Kleos there. Without your Lysandra being able to click ult, that is a massive cooldown that just went unused in that one, and just not damage to get through. Small Chow at the very end there. Jungsu does his best, but stun does come through, and it's going to be a long chase down here onto Resign, but Resign, nice awareness. Hey, just take the turret, and then pray that you dodge enough to get the execute here, and that was indeed the case. Helpful cannon minion.
Minion's OP.
Finishing the job.
Yeah, that was kind of the dream team fight for Akuma. Dorado was stacked up, and just every bit of CC layering came through. The Leona ultimate, the Pantheon ultimate over the top as well. Small Chow getting a nice two-man route. It was everything that Akuma needed, and the fight still didn't end up 100% positive for them. They still lose Dragon. They still lose that turret. They don't get the kill on Resign. So you have to question, how much else can they actually get done here? Because now they're shutdown gold on the Akuma members, and most of the team fights we've seen have been pretty Dorado favored.
Yeah, this is looking pretty difficult. It seems like every time Yengu is kind of distracted doing something is when the fights don't really go Dorado's way, but hey, as soon as he's locked into those fights where he's kind of fully aware of everything going on and not trying to get guaranteed this might comes through, it's looked a lot better, so curious to see how it'll go. Dorado's not trying to force an objective.
The other thing is a lot of the kills have gone to Chris on this Pantheon. Of course, as soon as I shout out the shutdown gold, they all disappear as the gold starts to even back up. But A lot of the gold, a lot of the kills have gone over to Chris on this Pantheon, a champion who I think outside of the Leona is pretty much the last person on this team you want having all of this gold this late into the game. Pantheon, not exactly known for his good scaling. Tate still kind of needing a lot of gold. Dorado not even having a kill yet in this game. It feels kind of rough, and it feels like if Akuma was not already kind of in desperation mode of just trying to win these fights, they need to give over a lot more gold to their carries.
Yeah. They are trying to just position around this Baron, but they're kind of losing on the waves here since Chungsu's already on that top side. Krios will get spotted out in this brush as well.
Chow.
Nice hook here. Small Chow. Not going to matter too much, just getting a little bit of damage onto Amp, but will just be a couple waves pushed in and play going to mute. 1 minute 30 on this Drake. Time is flying by, and that is a very important objective. I think if the team with Yunara gets Hextech Soul, it's going to be pretty difficult to actually get through this, but
yeah,
you can say that about
Yunara,
a lot of champions.
Seraphine, Sandra, even Ambessa, just giving her another chance to get closer to you and use all those dashes offensively feels kind of bad.
Yeah, so I think it's just going to be mostly waiting for that, trying not to make any mistakes in the meantime. Flash should be coming back up for Resign just in time, so it'll be a full 10 summoner spell fight. Curious to see if we'll just see the top laners TP in place for the shield, because this is probably, if Dorado's able to win this next fight, probably just game over here for Akuma.
It's a game decider and potentially a series decider if Dorado does end up taking the fight, but I think if Akuma continues to fight, we could be looking for a game 3 here. Their composition can work. We've seen how it can work. It's just a matter of punishing Dorado when they make mistakes, exactly like this. Solar Flare finds the stun. They found their CC layer, and Cleos will finally get that Zhonya's off. Tate TPing in, using that Weaver's Wall as well, but everybody's going to get away from Dorado. Resign on the wrong side of the wall. Is going to get caught by the arrow. Great cleanse, though, alongside the Flash will get away from the scuffle. And Akuma maintain control of the pit, dragging up in about 10 seconds, but a lot of defensive summoners used by Dorado, I think means that they can't walk up to contest this.
Yeah, they do still have the size, the Malphite ult and as well as the Lissandra ult, so maybe they can look for something, but not looking exactly confidence-inspiring. Chris also will have the execute on the Q as well, so they are just going to opt to give it up. They're going to be pushing out this mid-wave, maybe looking for something on the tail end, as they do find Yengu.
Here. Exhaust down onto Yengu, but maybe just a little over-aggressive from the Malphite.
That's
Tries
Baron.
to punish when the Akuma was in the Dragon Pit, but nothing doing there. And yeah, that should just be free Baron for Akuma. I'm not sure what the call was there for Dorado.
It's just getting CC'd a lot longer than expected, but that's what Leona does to you, so Yengu just gets taken down immediately. Actually, now that I'm kind of looking at it more, it looks like he ulted someone and missed.
Yeah, he must have
just
ulted.
didn't have the
I think he
damage.
ulted in onto Tate, and Tate had the Zanya, so just not exactly a call.
That checks out. Yep. Tate now going to try and cut this mid-wave, but kind of already way too much damage onto this turret, so they should be able to get it, but they didn't want to overcommit. Patel now looking
not
for
overstaying is a good call.
potential engage. Yeah, you could lose the game here for sure if you get taken down at all. So just gonna opt to stay alive for when the Malphite's back on the map. So makes a lot of sense here. Yeah, 5-1-2 on the Pantheon.
Didn't get the Baron. Suddenly things looking a lot better for Akuma. Gold heavily in their favor now, about 2,500 up alongside the Baron buff stats, alongside some of those individual stats from the Dragons as well. Things are starting to look much better for Akuma, and now it's just a matter of can they continue to mount the pressure, and how many comeback mechanics does Dorado really have, as Jiangsu is going to get spotted out here. Zeranos holding onto that ultimate, not looking to over-engage here, as Jiangsu will dash away from the ultimate of Spatel, but gets caught by the Enchanted Crystal Arrow, and now Chris will go unstoppable. Yengu using that ultimate just too little too late. Flash over the wall from Small Chow just to guarantee no escape for the Malphite, and that's 2 quick picks, punishing the mistakes. Feels like we're watching a reverse of game 1.
Yeah, pretty much just individual mistakes back to back, and then it's resulting in Akuma having a pretty nice, sizable advantage here come the late game. Jiangsu just not respecting the damage and doesn't end up flashing the Ash Arrow there, so we'll give up that death over, and that's a lot of space on the map afforded over to Akuma, who was having a kind of difficult time snowballing this lead, but with those deaths, and there's Baron as well.
Stuns in, they found the damage onto Spatel, as well as Zeranos, the over-aggression from Akuma. Goes 2 for 1. Chris now with the Guardian Angel will revive. Aegis Assault as well will block up a lot of the damage, but not enough.
No.
Resign, a triple kill for the Yunara, and if you're an Akuma fan, that's just about the worst case scenario you could hope for.
That was like 3 shutdowns, and
3
Dorado
shutdowns,
is
triple
suddenly
kill.
back in.
Yikes!
It looked so good, and we were just talking about, hey, they were having a hard time kind of forcing this, and then a big encore comes through from Amp, and that was pretty much the push done and dusted. Chris also trying to follow up on the play, but unfortunately going to lose the GA in the process, and that's a long cooldown you will not have for that Infernal Drake. So one of your crucial defensive cooldowns not available in this one. As we do see a replay of how it actually went down.
I want to look at the situation and see what exactly the call is from Akuma.
The call is just
Did they just want Amp? And I think Spatel was saying dive, and the rest of the team was saying no, just push the wave. But Spatel, unfortunately, engaged support brain is real. It does happen to the best of us, myself included. You just are playing something like Leona Nautilus, and every thought in your brain is just, I want to dive. I want kills.
Yep. And we did see that actually come to full effect here, as we do see Dragon preparation is going strong. Amp will try and zone out a little bit, but the vision advantage of just having the extra globals of the Talia and the Pantheon, which they can't guarantee isn't up already, means that Amp has to play this pretty reserved. She will find Chris on that bush. Will actually get the full stun, but just didn't have the vision to actually go for it.
Yeah, not 100% sure where everybody else on the map is. Small Chow picking up that blue buff. Tate close enough with the Weaver's Wall and with the teleport that the Talia is in range to be a threat. Dorado really wants to present for this Hex Tech Soul. When is Riot going to fix the overlay? When are they going to make that happen? It's not an Infernal
maybe
Soul,
one
it's a
day.
Hex Tech Soul. Dorado wants to find a way to contest this, but the river and pit control from Akuma has just been so good. Thank you to our observer for making sure that everybody can see that it is in fact a Hex Tech Soul. Yeah, Akuma's control over these objectives has been good when they actually get to the pit first. It's just a matter of retaking that they've had a lot of trouble with.
Yeah, they want to find a snap engage, I think, from Yengu, but just trying to find it has not been that easy, since you kind of got to go through a Swain. Oh, that's big.
Zong is immediately forced by Cleo, so you don't need anything else out of that play. Just getting that cooldown so huge for Akuma. We're now going to start turning towards the river. Nice 2-man pull from Small Chow, but again, not the engage they want. Seismic Shove doesn't land from Tate, just poke, but poke doesn't mean as much when you have that Seraphine here who has the tier item finished as well, so just providing so much healing as Dorado just kind of face first force their way into the river.
Yeah, they've somehow retaken the space. Now, the problem is, if Dorado does what they've done before for these Drakes and just go for it to, die for it.
Chow already getting bursted out, forced to use that Zong. Is a lot of CC landing onto Jiangsu, who has the flash and will be able to get out. Amp is the target and is deleted, but Jiangsu on the back line. Chris is the one in trouble. Tate will pick up Killing Spree, but Resign is untouched! A shutdown for the Yunara. One more! A triple again for Resign, and they say we don't even need the soul yet. We're gonna start to open up this base.
Yeah, Resign just completely untouched. They committed so much to take down Amp at the start of that fight, and it was just not the correct decision here, as Yengu and Kleos able to just stall out the backline here of Akuma. Yeah, Amp does end up taking a solar flare, and everyone just kind of combos in, hey, we need to get rid of it, and then Yengu, nice ultimate there, just to find the damage on the other side to give the space and the time to Resign and Jiangsu clean up this fight, and that was all she wrote there, as they will get a couple turrets in the mid lane as well as the inhib, and then now turn their attention towards that soul here right before the Baron spawning as well. What is the response now from Akuma as the gold evens up?
The response is, how on earth do we fight into the soul? They had a pretty good setup, but it was, I'm going to say it again, I'm going to continue to glaze and Resign with pretty much perfect positioning there, and Akuma throwing the all-in onto Amp. As much as the Seraphine is a target that you need to get rid of, the healing and the sustain utility that she provides is really, really good. But at the same time, you have to kind of be aware the Yunara needs to be your first threat in this team fight. Then it's then it's probably Ambessa, and then Lissandra, and then maybe Seraphine, but yikes.
Yeah, it's not gonna be exactly easy here. Uh, and now objective control over to Dorado, and they don't really have to work that hard for it. Hextech Soul just even being there and just immediately ults onto Chris.
Yeah, they're looking for the jungler. They've also got Small Chow, who's going to be able to heal up a lot from the Demon Flare. Encore will only find one, but it's the one that matters. It's Resign, now Legendary, another double kill over to the Yunara. Give her a couple more. Spatel flashes away, but it's just to get a ball to the back from Resign. A triple kill again to the Yunara, her third of this game. And it looks like Dorado should just be able to clean this up from here. Baron buff not even necessary. With the kills, with these death timers, this should just be all she wrote.
Yeah, it was a little bit sloppy here, but now they have themselves a great advantage. It's all up to Tate and Zeranos. But what is an Ashe and a Talia supposed to do in this position? You're facing Malphite. Kleos also has the ult as well. Could maybe potentially just go for a force here.
Yeah,
one of the
Chris
members.
is not up for another 13, Chow for 15, Spatella for 10, and Youngu wants the engage. Tate forced to use the Zonius, but the turret is going to die as he responds. Legendary for Resign. The unofficial Penta, the triple-double, and the series win for Dorado in Week 1.
Yeah, they pull that out from nothing here. It felt like everything was going Akuma's way until a little shenanigan in the mid lane inhibitor. Just a bit of a miscommunication, just immediately gets taken down by Amp, really, who pulls the trigger there at the very end. I mean, after that, it's the Resign show after that triple kill. So, hey, good look here from Dorado. Yes, it was a shaky game. There were definitely some individual errors as far as positioning is concerned. But
that mid game was rough,
something, for sure. But at least they were able to pick up the pieces once it was back handed over to them by Akuma, and definitely gotta work on some of the actual coordination within the team when it comes to mid game, and like really identifying what is our win con. And it felt like the win con was Swain, but then a lot of the times it felt like we're playing towards the Pantheon dive and trying to find something on the tail end of that fight. So
yeah, I don't want to harp on it again, but Zeranos not being able to get gifted a single kill in that second game for how well he performed in game number 1, that feels rough. And yeah, you have the Pantheon, you have the Swain Talia, you have a lot of carries on the top side, but Ashe needs gold to survive. If she's on 4 items just that little bit sooner, maybe can put a little more damage into team fights. I mean, you can see on the damage charts there, 13,000, pretty much the same as Amp on the Seraphine, who did have a great game, but if you're seeing your own AD carry matchup damage with the enemy support, something went wrong. Either
the enemy support's just goated.
Yeah, either gameplay-wise or something in the macro went wrong. And I'm going to be honest, I don't think it was really on Zeranos. I think it was an understated game, but a good game too.
Yeah, I think some of the Ashe arrows could have been placed better, or, you know, but that's not going to be what the reason the damage is low. I think it's just
not going to be the reason why
say.
you have that much less gold. Yeah.
Yeah. I think also it's just hard to play into Malphite as an AD carry, especially when it's a jungle Malphite, because it's just much less restricted on the map. Jungle Malphite is going to be everywhere, and you just kind of have to deal with that kind of issue throughout the game, and they don't have the tools. That's what made it a good B4, B5 pick. And unfortunately, the Swain pick wasn't able to kind of get over that wall and really establish dominance, despite really good pickups kills-wise, using that TP advantage that was generated earlier on. So I'd say there's still some bright spots here for Akuma, and they have a lot to work on for the upcoming season, but same for Dorado. They have a lot to work on as well.
Regard, yeah.
So I think, you may take a loss here, but Dorado could very well be the best team in this group. So we'll have to see how that actually shapes up as the season kind of develops. It is week 1. It is early. People haven't had their scrim blocks if they are looking to do those. So a lot of improvement to be had. And hey, it was at least a fun best of 3 with not one-sided games.
It was very back and forth, and again, it is only week 1. I'm trying to read through my sunglasses, which shockingly enough is kind of difficult when they're polarized. I believe we have 7 weeks of the regular season here before we get into the playoffs, so still plenty of time for Akuma to kind of shape things up, to figure some things out, both individually and as a team. And for Dorado, the same. As much as you got the win here, I don't think it's a win that you're going to come through with and be like, we played perfectly that game. There is nothing for us to improve on. We're the best team in this league. No, there were definitely mistakes that they can clean up on and things that they can improve on. But that's the great thing about week 1 of a new split. You're playing with new people. You're playing on a new team. You're just kind of figuring out how everything works with your squad. And for Dorado, it worked out for them today. We'll have to see how it works out for them next week.
Hey, and guess what? Ranked 5s is coming to a
Ranked 5s,
to a League of Legends near you soon enough. So maybe, hey, that's basically free scrim blocks if you think about it.
True. I think that is going to be for us here on the cast today. Thank you all so much for joining us. I've been What's Too Pretty. That's been Golden Gad, our producer and a server, Shivam and Anti, making sure things run as smoothly as possible in the background. We appreciate you all for being here, and we will catch you next week for more Vanquisher action. Same time, same place. See you then.
See you.